This is the Arturia Keylab Essential 88 Mark III, the newest 88-key budget keyboard from Arturia, and it's a bargain. But who exactly is it for? In this video, I'll demo the DAW and virtual instrument control, key and drum pads, and the features that make this keyboard stand out from the competition. All right, let's start with the most prominent new feature in my opinion, the new screen. Arturia debuted this new screen on the 49 and 61 key versions of the Keylab Essential last year, and it's an excellent improvement from the previous version of the Keylab Essential. It has lots more room for showing information and makes use of contextual buttons under it. The large encoder knob feels premium, and there's a nice soft click as you turn it. You can press in to do things like select. The screen is easy on the eyes. It's great to see the preset you're using, the parameters you're changing, and sculpt your synth sounds and your DAW's parameters too. I'll go into these features more later in this video. So overall, great screen, and I have to say this is a winning feature of the Keylab Essential Mark III when comparing it to other keyboards at this price point. Other keyboards give you tiny screens or just dated screens that don't enhance your workflow that much. Other keyboard companies should take note. In fact, this screen is even better than the screen on Arturia's more expensive Keylab Mark II. I think we may be seeing an update to that keyboard coming soon, given the improvements on the Essential. There's more new stuff on the Keylab Essential. I need to talk about DAW control, but before I do, a quick word about the key and pad feel. This is super important to me as a pianist. Keys and pads are velocity sensitive, of course, but no aftertouch. The Keylab Essential 88 has semi-weighted keys. They feel excellent, decent weight, and definitely not mushy. They are a noticeable improvement over the 49 and 61 key versions of this keyboard. But these are not fully weighted hammer action keys. If you're a pianist, you know what I'm talking about. Hammer action keys give you a piano-like feel, but that means more money. The keys on this keyboard will get you halfway there, and considering the price of Arturia's fully weighted controller, this ends up being a bargain. Now, if you really want hammer action keys, you can look at other controllers like the M Audio Hammer 88 keyboard, but that keyboard will not give you all the DAW control and virtual instrument control that this keyboard will. So yeah, it's a different product. So who is this keyboard for? Well, if you want more keys and better key feel than pretty much every other 49 or 61 key controller out there, this may be for you. By the way, Novation makes the Launch Key 88, which has great DAW control and has similar key feel. The Arturia keybed feels a slight bit weightier, but the difference is barely noticeable. But there are some other big differences between the two I'll get into later in the video. Nectar's LX88 will give you 88 keys, but they feel budget, and the features of that keyboard are showing their age. Now, I haven't been a fan of Arturia's drum pads on previous keyboards, but the pads on this Keylab Essential 88 feel good. Sensitivity and stiffness have been improved. The Novation Launch Key 88 will give you more drum pads for a similar price, but they're smaller. Real quick, on the left side of the keyboard, you have pitch and mod wheels, then some buttons, octave and transpose buttons, a MIDI channel selector, and a bank select button for the pads. Before we get to DAW integration, if you're new around here, I'm SanjayC. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I've got lots of keyboard reviews and a Saturday news report video where I share the latest products from the music production world. If you're interested in buying the Keylab Essential Mark III or other keyboards I talk about in this video, I'll add links to the best prices below the video. Okay, the next notable new feature on all new Keylab Essentials is the inclusion of DAW configurations for several popular DAWs. This was missing on the previous version, but now you have, out of the box, configurations for Ableton Live, Bitwig, Cubase, FL Studio, Logic Pro, and the MCU HUI standard if you're using a different DAW. And according to Arturia, the Keylab Essential will detect your DAW and these things just get auto-configured. This is an important feature because if you use one of these DAWs to make music, you'll have pre-mapped easy access to frequently used features using the physical buttons, knobs, and faders on the Keylab Essential. Around the same price, Novation's Launchkey 88 works well with most DAWs and exceptionally well with Ableton Live, and it gives you more paths for clip triggering. So if you're an Ableton user, it's definitely worth checking that out too. But there are trade-offs I'll get into later. For Ableton, the pads on this keyboard can be used for clip triggering. This keyboard is made for music production on a computer, so if you're a home producer who needs a lot of keys, this may be perfect for you. So, what does DAW configuration do on the Keylab Essential? Well, let's see. I'm using Ableton Live, but you'll get similar control on other supported DAWs. Switch to the DAW control, and the faders control track volumes, the knobs control pans, and the buttons to the left of the screen give you stop, play, record, tap tempo, and more stuff. You've also got loop on and off, forward, back, metronome on and off, save, quantize, undo, and redo. The buttons under the screen add more control depending on your DAW. For Ableton Live, for example, you can switch between device control and track control, and even move between tracks. I tested loading up some stock instruments in Logic and Ableton, and they instantly worked well with the knobs and faders on the Keylab, and the screen shows what parameters you're adjusting to. I love this feature. I should also mention that Arturia has 9 knobs and faders versus the typical 8 on many other keyboards. The last fader and knob gives you quick access to your current active track. This is a nice feature if you forget which track is the one you're currently working on. One thing I don't see on the Keylab Essential Mark III is the ability to control sends using the controls here. Now, the DAW control features I've explained so far are similar no matter what DAW you use, but Ableton Live has a few unique features, and the Keylab integrates with them as well. First is clip and scene triggering. You can use the drum pads to launch clips and also record clips. And you can use the main encoder to navigate through scenes and trigger a scene when clicking in. When it comes to Ableton Live, the only other keyboard that gives you a little more like access to Ableton Capture features and sends is the Novation Launchkey. That keyboard was built for Ableton Live, but the Keylab does give you better feedback of what you're doing with this screen. It's so much more useful to see your control descriptions on this screen versus other tiny screens on other keyboards at this price. But we're not done yet. You can't talk about Arturia keyboards without showing off their integration with Arturia's own Analog Lab software. And it's even better now. Before I get to that, if you're writing songs and producing music at home, you should share them with the world. It's super easy to get your music out there using DistroKid, the sponsor of today's video. DistroKid lets you upload your music to Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Pandora, pretty much everywhere. Best of all, they make it really easy. Just upload your track, add some artwork, and they do the rest. DistroKid also collects earnings for you when your listeners play or purchase your music, and they help you market your music with tools built right in. A hyperfollow page lets you share your latest music with your friends on Facebook or anywhere you can share a link, and they can easily follow you to get notified of your upcoming releases. I've actually created 2 dedicated videos on DistroKid to give you all the details about how it works, how you upload, and how you get paid. You can watch those videos right here. And if you're ready to sign up, I'll include a link below the video that'll give you 7% off your first year of membership. Now, I said this keyboard has excellent control of Arturia's virtual synths, pianos, and other virtual instruments. And that's an important difference when comparing this keyboard to Novation, M Audio, Akai, and Nectar keyboards. Among those brands, only Novation will give you 88 keys on a budget, and none of those keyboards offer this level of virtual instrument integration. The only other keyboard manufacturer that gives you this much integration is Native Instruments. So let's see what the Keylab Essential can do. Load Analog Lab onto a track in your DAW. The Keylab comes with this software, and then switch to the Arturia mode. And now you've got the ability to navigate the presets and control the sound shaping parameters. Turn the main encoder to cycle through the presets. You can even filter the presets by type, favorite them, and you've got previous and next buttons as well. With the new screen, this gives you an excellent way to find sounds in Analog Lab. Once you find something you like, you can use the knobs and faders to shape the sound. This is a lot of fun and really sparks creativity while keeping your focus on the keyboard instead of your computer screen. And I think the Keylab Essential is the most budget-friendly way to dive into the world of virtual instruments. And if you're into vintage synths, this may be a dream come true for you. Now, I do have a criticism about the layout on the Keylab Essential 88. They put the faders and knobs on the right side. I prefer them on the left because it allows you to play with your right hand while adjusting parameters with your left. On a keyboard like this that gives you so much control of synth parameters, this would have been nice. The Keylab Essential 88 has some bonus features we've been seeing on more and more keyboards: chord, scale, and arp features. Chord mode assigns a chord that you can play on any note. Long press the chord button to select different types of chords. You can also create your own chords. Scale mode allows you to set a scale and not have to worry about playing wrong notes. They got really fancy with the screen for this mode. They actually show you the scale on the screen. Very cool. Arp mode gives you auto arpeggiators and lots of ways to adjust them. Again, the screen just makes this easy and intuitive. The hold button will hold your notes while you adjust the arp settings. A note on build quality. Things feel solid on this keyboard. Nothing is wobbly or loose. Knobs are tight, maybe a bit too much resistance for my taste. The faders feel great though. Buttons have a rubbery touch, no clicky sound. I love that. Arturia has improved the included software collection over the previous version of this keyboard. I'll get to that in a sec. Before we do, let's take a look at the back. Not too much to go through though. You've got a USB-C connector, MIDI out, and a port for a sustain, expression, or foot switch pedal. You get some free software with the Keylab Essential 88. Arturia is including Analog Lab, which I showed you before. Analog Lab gives you over 2,000 sounds from Arturia's well-known software instruments. This software and its integration with this keyboard cannot be overlooked. It's a standout feature and something else that makes this keyboard unique. You also get Ableton Live Lite, Native Instruments The Gentleman Piano, and UVI's Model D Piano, as well as Loop Cloud and Melodics. Arturia also includes software that allows you to edit what the Keylab Essential can do. Edit knob sliders, lots to configure here. So, who is the Arturia Keylab Essential 88 for? Well, this is a great keyboard for the price, and Arturia has really raised the bar with the user interface. This is the right keyboard for you if you're a music producer on a budget and don't want to be restricted by 49 or 61 keys. But with that in mind, this keyboard does come in those 49 or 61 key configurations with pretty much the same features, and you may want to check out those variations if you're limited on space. Now, if you want to see what the Novation Launchkey 88 has to offer at a similar price, I take you through all the coolest features right here. Keep making the music you love, and I'll see you soon.